Some of you are not responding to your spouse. You're responding to the version of your spouse that your body has learned to expect. You know, that means that your spouse can walk into a conversation completely with different intentions, right? But before they were able to finish their sentence, your body has already decided how the conversation is going to end. So you already know how they're going to criticize you. You already know how they're going to dismiss you. You already know how they're not going to understand you. You know how you will have to defend yourself. But here's the problem. None of that has actually happened yet. Like, your spouse is still standing in front of you in the present moment, but your mind and your body are responding from a collection of moments from the past. And that is why your heart starts beating faster when they say, "Can we talk?" You see what I'm saying? And this is why your face changes when you hear a certain tone. And this is why you begin preparing your defense before you even understand what your spouse is trying to say. I even think this is why some couples keep having the same argument even when the topic changes. Like, they think they're arguing about sex or money or children or the dishes or the phone, but many times the topic is only the button. So the pattern is what happens after the button gets pushed, okay? A habit is a set of thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that have been repeated so many times that it begins operating automatically. So this is what they call autopilot. So you have practiced that response so often that it can begin happening before your conscious mind has fully caught up. Okay, and that does not only happen like when you drive to work without thinking about every turn. It can happen inside your relationship. So you can practice defensiveness until your body becomes defensive before you consciously decide to defend yourself. And you can practice shutting down until silence feels safer than connection. Like, you can practice criticism until pointing out what is wrong feels more natural than acknowledging what is right. And you can practice assuming the worst until suspicion begins feeling like discernment. Like, you can practice resentment until remembering the offense feels easier than remembering the person you married. And then we say things like, "I don't know why I keep doing this," but you know, what you repeatedly practice. Think about this. What we repeatedly practice eventually begins to perform automatically. Let me show you how this pattern works. First is a cue. So your spouse asks, "Did you take care of that thing we talked about?" That's the cue. Think the cue ball on a billiards table. Okay, you're setting this up. And bam, you hit the cue ball. The chain reaction's gone. The variables change. That cue ball hits a ball, it bounces off, ricochets, and hits a bunch of other stuff going on the table. Okay? Now, you can control it if you know how to put English, and there's other things that you can do in that game. So that's why I brought that up, because think about it. If your spouse says to you, "Did you take care of that thing we talked about?" That is the cue. That's the beginning of the chain reaction. But you do not only hear the question, your brain immediately connects that question to other moments. So other times that you felt criticized, or other times that you felt like your efforts weren't being appreciated. You see what I'm saying? And other times when you felt controlled and blamed and ignored and rejected and disrespected. You see? And before your spouse can even explain like why they're asking, something happens inside of you. Like, you become tense, and your breathing changes, and your face changes, and your tone changes. Your body becomes tense, and your breathing changes, and your face changes, and your tone changes, and then the thoughts arrive. Here we go again. Like, I can never do anything right, and they don't appreciate anything that I do, and they're always trying to control me. They think I'm stupid. And once you agree with that interpretation, your reaction begins to feel justified. Now, you are not simply answering a question, you're protecting yourself from everything that question has come to represent. You see what I'm saying? Your spouse is speaking to you in the present, but your practiced emotional pattern is answering from the past. You see what I'm saying? So write this down. Sometimes you're not having a new argument. You're rehearsing an old one. Like the topic may be different, but the sequence is the same. So there's a cue, there's an interpretation, there's an emotion, there's a reaction, and then there's disconnection. And after disconnection happens, it becomes another painful memory. So the next time a similar cue appears, your mind reaches back and says, see, this is exactly what always happens. Now the pattern becomes even stronger. And this is how couples can wake up already prepared to be disconnected. Like before your feet even touch the ground or touch the floor, you start thinking about what happened the night before. And you remember what your spouse said, and you remember the look on their face, and you remember what you wish you would have said back. Like you replay the conversation and you rehearse the argument while you're brushing your teeth. You see what I'm saying? And you build your case. And as you remember the event, you begin feeling the emotions connected to it all over again. And your spouse has not even said anything new yet, but you're already irritated. You're already distant. You're already guarded. You're already prepared to interpret. You're already prepared to interpret the next interaction through yesterday's pain. So now the familiar past begins creating a predictable future, right? The same tone, the same assumptions, the same reaction, the same argument, the same silence, the same disappointing ending. And after repeating this pattern long enough, couples begin saying, this is just how our marriage is. And I'm like, no, does it have to be like that? This may not be who you are. This may simply be what you practiced. How about that? You know, because you can consciously say, I want peace in my home. But if you repeatedly practice defensiveness, whenever you feel questioned, defensiveness may still be your automatic response. Okay? You can say to me, or you can say, I want to be emotionally available, but if shutting down has repeatedly helped you escape uncomfortable conversations, withdrawal may still feel like safety. You see what I'm saying? You can say, I want to forgive, but if you rehearse the offense every morning, every afternoon, every night, every evening, you are practicing resentment more frequently than you're practicing forgiveness. You can say, I want to feel close to my spouse. But if every attempt at connection is filtered through suspicion, right? So they're through fear or criticism or self-protection. Like what's happening is you may keep creating the exact distance that you don't even want in your relationship. Like your conscious intention says, I want something different, Malcolm. But your practice pattern says, this is what we normally do. And when pressure rises, the response you've practiced usually becomes available faster than the response you merely intended to give. And that is why more information alone does not always change a marriage. You may already know you should listen, right? You may already know that you should pause. And you may know that you shouldn't be sending that long text. Like you may already know that sending that long text message is not going to help. Like you may already know that bringing up 14 old examples will not create connection. Like you may already know that your tone is making the conversation worse. But knowing what is healthy and having practiced a healthy response are not the same thing. An informed couple can still remain a disconnected couple. Like you can know all 5 love languages and still speak to each other with contempt. And you can understand all of the attachment styles and still respond to your spouse's attachment style. You can understand attachment styles and still use your spouse's attachment style against them. And you can quote every communication principle and still become defensive the moment your spouse tells you how your behavior affected them. Again, Information does not automatically become transformation, okay? And this is where scripture becomes extremely practical, because over in Romans 12, it does not simply tell us to desire a different life. It says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So transformation requires more than agreeing with the truth when everything is fine and calm. The truth must begin confronting the interpretations you automatically make when you feel threatened. The passage renewing your mind is like, it's using the same word as renovate, okay? So when we renovate something, we completely gut it out. Think a kitchen. We're renovating a kitchen. We take all the cabinets out and we discard of everything and we put in something new. That's what it literally means to renew your mind. You see what I'm saying? The assumptions you make about your spouse, like the stories you tell yourself, like the thoughts you repeatedly rehearse, the reactions your flesh keeps presenting as necessary, like think about those things, because 2 Corinthians tells us to take every thought captive. Catch it, check it, change it. Okay? It tells us to take every thought captive and bring it into the obedience of Christ. Make it obedient to Christ. Do you know that means that every thought that enters your mind does not automatically deserve your agreement? Your spouse does not respect you. Okay? Take it captive. They always do this. Take it captive. Catch it. Check it like you would a code at the door. And then change it according to the word. Use Philippians 4:8 as a filter. Okay? Whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, etc. If a thought came up like they're purposely trying to hurt you, take it captive. If you do not defend yourself immediately, like you're going to lose control, take it captive. Nothing is ever going to change. Take it captive. You do not have to believe every interpretation simply because it arrived with a strong emotion, okay? Now, your emotions are real, but the interpretation attached to the emotion may not always be true. And Galatians tells us to walk in the Spirit, and walking is not one giant decision. Walking is a series of repeated steps, okay? So it's one step, then another step, then another step. This is how a new pattern is formed. So you do not change your marriage by waiting until the next argument and hoping that spiritual inspiration suddenly takes over, okay? You decide beforehand where you're going to practice when that familiar cue appears. Does that make sense? Like when I feel myself becoming defensive, I will pause before responding. When I feel the urge to prove my point, I will ask a curious question. When I feel myself shutting down, I will communicate that I need a moment to regulate, and I will return to the conversation. You see what I'm saying? It's like when my spouse reaches for me, it's like I'm going to put the phone down and turn towards them. Okay? When I realize my tone caused harm, I will repair instead of explaining why my tone was justified. Okay? When an old memory enters the conversation, I will ask, does this memory belong to what's happening right now? The greatest question you can ask yourself. That is how you begin interrupting the pattern. We don't interrupt it by pretending the past did not happen. Okay? Not by denying legitimate pain, not by ignoring betrayal or tolerating abuse or refusing to establish boundaries. Some marriages need counseling. Some situations require accountability. Some relationships need like a safety plan and separation and repentance and treatment or serious intervention. But even when boundaries are necessary, like think about this for a second. When boundaries are necessary, you still have to decide whether your spouse will be. But even when boundaries are necessary, think about that, where you're gonna have to give an account for your life. Okay. You still have to decide whether your response will be led by wisdom or controlled by an automatic reaction. Because your spouse cannot practice your new response for you, and your future marriage cannot be built on intentions you never turned into actions, okay? That's why I created the 30-day turn toward couples challenge. It's not 30 more days of giving you information for you to agree with. Okay? It is 30 days of helping you recognize the exact moments when that old pattern normally takes over. And it helps you practice a different response before disconnection becomes the culture of your home. So for 30 days, you'll begin learning how to notice the cues that normally pull you into conflict. And you'll learn how to identify what is happening inside of you before the reaction takes over. So you'll practice regulating before responding. And you'll challenge the meaning you automatically assign to your spouse's behavior. So you'll learn to repair moments of disconnection instead of allowing them to become tomorrow's evidence. And every day you'll practice one small intentional turn toward your spouse. You see what I'm saying? Because your current relationship pattern was not created in one giant moment. It was created through repetition, lots of iterations. That eye roll that kept happening, the question that had been interpreted as criticism, the conversation that kept being avoided, the hand that reached across the bed and was ignored, the apology that was replaced with an explanation, like the small moment when one person reached and the other person turned away. Distance was built one moment at a time. But here's the good news, guys. Connection can be rebuilt the same way. One pause at a time, one renewed thought at a time, one repaired moment at a time, one different response at a time, one intentional turn toward each other at a time. So if you keep saying, I know better, but I keep doing the same thing, your marriage may not be broken. You may have simply practiced a pattern so many times that now it feels like your personality or your personal reality. But your pattern is not your identity, guys, okay? Gals, your reaction is not your destiny. And yesterday does not have to keep deciding how you respond today. So tap the link in my bio, tap the link on my YouTube channel, okay? And join me inside the 30-day Turn Towards Couples Challenge, okay? Stop allowing the past to keep answering your spouse in the present. Stop rehearsing the same reactions and expecting a different relationship. Begin practicing the small intentional responses that can change the culture of your marriage, okay? Because marriage is not hard. Living on autopilot, emotional autopilot, is hard. Repeating yesterday so consistently that it becomes tomorrow is hard. And I would love to help you interrupt that pattern and begin building something new. I'll see you inside the challenge, okay? Titans aren't born, they're forged.